Hello everyone, it's been a while. Unless you watch my gaming channel, in which case it hasn't. You'll have seen me on Monday. But I didn't intend for it to be this long before I posted another video on this channel, but it has. So anyway, I've been unemployed for 4 months now, and I thought I would discuss how I've been managing in terms of finances and how it's affecting me mentally. Basically, the reason I've been able to stay out of work for 4 months without being in a rush really to get another job is because I still live with my parents and therefore I don't pay rent or a mortgage. I only contribute towards a quarter of the household bills. And obviously, I have my personal outgoings, so phone bill, car insurance, road tax, that sort of stuff. And any subscription services that I might have, which to be honest with you isn't many because I don't like subscription services. So my outgoings are very low, which means I don't need to be earning much money to cover my expenses. However, for the first 3 months that I was unemployed, I wasn't claiming benefits because I wasn't looking for work. And in order to be claiming benefits, you're supposed to look for work. That's part of the deal. If you're claiming unemployment from the government, you're supposed to be looking for work. So it's only over this last month-ish that I've started claiming benefits, unemployment benefits, because I am now actually actively looking for part-time work. Now, during those 3 months where I wasn't claiming any benefits, I was mostly paying my expenses with my savings because I'd worked for, I think, about 6 years. And during those 6 years, because I was living at home and had very low expenses, I was able to save money every month from my salary. So I wasn't concerned at all about my money situation. And then the other thing is, I have been selling a load of stuff that I have that I didn't want anymore. So I had an entire bookcase full of manga and anime figures that I didn't want anymore, that I've just been gradually selling away. I was doing this before I even quit my job. So, but it has been kind of substituting a bit and helping so that I'm not cutting into my savings too much. The other thing is, I am now earning money from YouTube. Not much. It's not to the point where it's covering my outgoings, but it's a start. Moving on from that, that's how I've been managing from a financial perspective. So now I am looking for part-time work. I'm not going back into full-time work, at least not for the time being. If I can get a part-time job, that will be cool. Or if YouTube picks up enough that, because unemployment benefits has a threshold, right? So if I meet that threshold of how much I'm earning or how many hours I'm spending on YouTube per week, then I come off of benefits, basically. So it will be a case of either I reach that threshold first or I get a part-time job first, whichever it is, I don't know. So yeah, I'm not going back to full-time work. Like I said, I don't want to do that. If I went back into full-time work and got into another kind of comfortable situation that would last for I don't know how long, and by comfortable I mean stable income, right? Then I wouldn't be as focused on YouTube probably. And I think uploads would become very irregular because I would very much struggle to maintain a full-time job and regular output on YouTube. Personally, I know that there's people that do that, and people that can do that. That's honestly probably the best way to do it. It's the safest way to go about trying to grow on YouTube, is to have it alongside a full-time job, you know? For me, a full-time job is going to be too many hours, realistically speaking. I just know what I'm like personally, and that I would get to a point where I'd be like, YouTube, whatever. I can't, I'm too tired after work, or I'm too tired this weekend. This is what my time to chill out a bit. But the other thing is I don't want to go back into full-time work. And because I'm not in full-time work at the moment, I don't see the point in going back into it if I just want to stop down the line eventually anyway. So part-time work makes more sense for the time being. And then hopefully I can go full-time with YouTube. That's the dream. I'd love this to be my full-time job across my two channels, but we'll see how that goes. Because if it doesn't work out, I am going to have to go back into full-time work eventually, because I need to be able to support myself, because I'm not going to be able to live with my parents forever. And I don't have a partner or anything like that that can help in that sense. So it's literally a case of I need to figure my life out on my own. So yeah, that's the plan. In terms of how it's been, like the mental impact it's had being out of work, well, I mean, I haven't noticed any negatives, I have to say. I mean, I suppose the only negatives are because I've been out of work. There is, for 4 months, the longer you're out of work, the more you build up kind of a fear of going back to work. I guess there's that, which is true, but I've been through that before. During, 2020, I lost my job in 2020 because of we know what. So I'm not going to mention the word because I think YouTube doesn't like you referencing it for some reason. But we all know what I'm talking about, right? And I lost my job. I was out of work for 6 months or something before I was able to find another job, and it was part-time, and it was just something that I got to so that I'd be able to fill in my CV and hopefully be able to find the type of work that at the time I wanted to do, but not really wanted, because that was just me going along with what was expected of me, not what I wanted to do. Did I ever want to have a traditional job? No. I never wanted to have a does anyone really, like most people, do most people really want to work like traditional jobs? I think a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't have dream jobs, okay? But anyway, so yeah. So I have been out of work for like an extended period of time before. And I got over the fear or whatever of going back into work that kind of can build up over time when you've not been in work, and it was fine. So, that's like the only negative. Well, I suppose there are other negatives, like there's no routine, there's no structure really. Those are, I would say, negative things, but they haven't really had much of a negative impact on my mental health, I would say, because I'm not really someone that really cares for structure anyway. I do need some level of structure and routine to feel like I'm not a mess of a human being, but I don't need a huge amount of structure and routine. In fact, I don't like there to be too much of it, which is another reason why I don't like traditional jobs, because you have to get up at the same time every day, go to the exact same place. And even if I like the job and the people that I'm working with, over time, after about a year of working at the same place, or even not even a year, to be honest with you, I start getting really quite fed up with it, and just kind of mentally check out of the job after about that long, to be honest with you. I still put in the work and effort needed, because I'm being paid. I have enough respect for the company and the people paying me to actually do my work efficiently, or as efficiently as I can. But I also look at it and think, okay, well, I'm being paid this much money, which I've never had a high salary. I've always been, I guess, well, I started off obviously at minimum wage, and I built my way up to kind of like living wage, sort of. So I was doing so well for myself after 6 years. From minimum wage to living wage it makes you think, wow, that was so worth it. So yes, anyway, back to the negatives and positives. So yes, like I said, I don't really need a huge amount of structure, but some level of structure is kind of required. So in a way, I suppose it's good that I live with my parents, because when you live with other people, as a result, there is a level of structure and routine within a household anyway. But if you're living on your own, you set all your own rules and you have to do everything. But other than that, I can't really think of any negatives, to be honest with you, because the main thing is I'm doing a lot better mentally, mental health wise, after quitting that last job, because I was having panic attacks. I had really bad anxiety. I now realize that that my self worth had gotten not really bad, but you know, I was allowing myself to be kind of gaslit. And when I look back on a lot of the situations and conversations that I had in that job with a certain individual, I look back and think, wow, they really managed to gaslight me. That was impressive, I have to say. Basically, to summarize, I was very unhappy in that job and very stressed and very anxious. And I was having panic attacks and stuff. So now I don't have any of that. That's gone because it was all situational tied to that job. So my mental health is much better because, like I said, it was very much tied to that job and the situation I was in. And I felt very suffocated and I didn't know what to do. And the only way I could see myself improving my situation was to get out of there. So that's what I did. And now I'm much, much happier and I'm fine, basically. And I said this already in my video about quitting that job, but I'll say it again. Do not force yourself to stay in a situation that is making you feel horrible. It's not worth it. Don't stay in a job that's making you feel horrible. I get that sometimes it can be hard to quit because we have responsibilities, and a lot of people have mortgages or rent or a family to care for, and so they need the money. Now, I'm very fortunate that I didn't have any of those. So it was a lot easier for me to just up and quit my job. But even I had to talk myself into it for quite a while because I was concerned about what it would mean for my career and stuff like that if I was to quit a job. But anyway, if you can get yourself out of a situation like that, you really should. So discuss it with your significant other if you have one, or and yeah, I've kind of just been taking it easy and healing really from what happened in that job. I make it sound like I was bullied, but in a way, one could argue that I was, because I haven't actually gone into detail about everything that happened. I was kind of very much generalizing mostly how I felt, but I didn't talk about any specific situations that happened. But anyway, yeah. So basically, I'm doing a lot better. I'm, and now I'm a lot happier, and I'm trying to work towards things that I want in my life more so than things that I felt I needed to have in my life, like a full-time job. You don't necessarily have to have a full-time job. I know that our options are very limited, let's just say. A lot of us do essentially kind of have to have a full-time job. And in order for society to function under a capitalist structure, we do need people working jobs. We need people farming to produce our food. We need people working in the factories that produce our food. We need people working in healthcare. We need people working in everything that we have, essentially, for society to function as it is. So we do need people working in those jobs. I just wish that people were treated better. I just wish that people were compensated in a way that actually reflected their work and showed appreciation for their work so that they could actually live a comfortable life through the service that they're providing for our country. Because if you're working within food, within medical care, within any of those like really important sectors, you should be allowed to live a comfortable life for the service you're providing for the country and society at large. Don't you think? Doesn't that just make sense? Anyway, yeah, I'm just trying to work on building the life that I want now rather than the life that I thought I had to have, because I've essentially realized, you know what, I don't actually have to live that life. I can reject it and try and build the life I want. And if it doesn't work out, then at least I can say I tried. You know, I'd rather say, well, I tried to build the life that I wanted and it didn't work out. So here I am back in the system. But at least I gave it a go, you know? Because if you don't try, you'll never know. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. I know that I kind of rambled on a little bit, but I thought I'd give you all a bit of an update because it's been almost a month since my last video at this point on this channel. And I'll see you in my next video. And I do have some video ideas, which I said last time, but this time I will actually make these videos. So I will see you next week. Bye bye.